Hey, what's going on, guys? Heads here from Infinity Loops, and welcome back. Today, we are taking a look at the Firefly series by Hisingy. First, I should note that this is the Firefly, and this is the Firefly EX. We're not really going to take too close of a look at the Firefly EX, to be honest. That one's a little more basic, and there's a lot less to it. There is no camera on it. You can just fly it line of sight. You can fly it in headless mode. It has a feature that they've told me is called Toss and Fly. So do be weary of that if you do end up getting this one. If you drop it too close to the ground, like if you're flipping it over after a crash. I think I was about 2 inches. I'll include some video here. But if you just drop it on the ground, even if the radio is not armed or nobody's touching the radio, the drone will arm itself and just start hovering and take off. So don't let your kids flip it over on their own, maybe. Do that part for them. Or just avoid that one and go with this one, because this one does not do that. The Firefly kit is available on Hisingy's website right now for $169.90. That comes with the drone itself, which has an FPV camera, so that would come with box goggles as well, so you can see what you're doing, and a radio, so you can control what you're doing. Speaking of the drone, they have it listed as 87 grams for the takeoff weight. They also have it listed for 86 grams for the takeoff weight. And they also have it listed for 83.9 grams takeoff weight. Mine measured out at 82.2 takeoff weight. So it'd be roundabout, somewhere around there. Now, considering the takeoff weight is as heavy as it is, this came with a 950 milliamp 1S battery. It has a pH 2.0 plug on it, so I'm sure it could be improved a little bit. That's the plug on the backside of the drone here. That's where you snap your battery into. It kind of slides in on a tray, which is very nice. Makes it very convenient if you're, especially if like a kid's trying to use this. It's not fiddling around with plugs. You can't accidentally plug it in the wrong way. There's really only one way to get the battery in, and if you plugged it in the other way, it wouldn't plug into the actual pH 2.0 plug. It would just kind of have the plug up above the drone. So either way, you can't short it out. So that's good. But with that pH 2.0 plug on that 950 milliamp battery, I was able to get around 6.5 minutes of flight time on average. That's moving around, doing some little flips and rolls with it. It's not exactly just sitting and hovering. I think when I was hovering, I got about 7 minutes. They list on the website 8-minute flight times. I'm not sure what the conditions were for them to get 8, but I couldn't replicate it here with the battery they sent and the drone they sent. So let's take that as you will. Speaking of the modular design of the battery, the rest of the build is just the same. Everything else just kind of comes apart fairly easily. It's pretty straightforward. There's 4 screws to get the bottom off here and get access to the flight controller. You can also take the fuselage off. You can take the little canopy protector off of the front camera and take the camera out. The plugs on the motors go into the flight controller, so there's no soldering there. The camera VTX combo that's in here is also plugged into the flight controller. There's no soldering at all, so you don't have to worry about that when you're doing repairs. Speaking of the motor plugs, those are attached to these 8520 brushed motors. These are listed at 40,000 RPMs, or RPM for you uneducated types. And those motors are spinning some 55 millimeter bi-blade propellers. I have really banged this thing up really badly. My son flew it, I flew it, we purposely flew it poorly. We ran it into things on purpose. It has just taken all kinds of beatings from the both of us, and it is still chooching with no issues. I have no cracks in the frame, no stress. Well, it might be a little stress mark here or there, but there's no cracks in the frame. Everything is still together. All the ducts are still attached and in one piece. So kudos to them on the frame. This is like some hard plastic that they've built this out of. Next in the kit, you will get one of these TX50 controllers. These run off of 4 AAA batteries that just go right here in the back. There are a total of 5 function buttons on this radio, 2 on the top here, and then you have 3 across the bottom. M1 down here is for beacon mode. The second button there is just a backup function button. The M3, the big one over here by itself, is to start and stop your motors. The bumper on the top right is to change your flight modes, so you can go in from the back to center, and then there's another one that will hold your attitude wherever you put it, so you can. It's not exactly acro mode, but it's a little more freedom to control the drone as opposed to the other mode, which just keeps you locked center and you can kind of just hover there if you're not touching the radio at all. And finally, you have this L1 button on the top here. That is used to activate a roll or a flip. So to do that, you just go at least 2 meters up in the air, click that button one time, and then using your right gimbal, you can pick which direction you would like to roll or flip, and then the drone will do just that. And finally, one of the nice features of this radio is that allegedly you can use it with Bluetooth on your computer to play in most sims. This should work. I actually think they have the Hisingy drones, some of them, not sure which one, maybe the Stargazer, in liftoff micro drones. And finally, to round out an FPV kit, you're definitely going to need some FPV goggles. These are the ARX 300 by Hisingy. The box goggles have a replaceable face mask up here on the front, and I believe they actually sell those on Hisingy's website. It also comes with a pretty quality headband, if I do say so myself, considering some of the more expensive goggles I've seen over the last year or so, and the pathetic headbands that come on some of those. Not all, but some of them. This is pretty nice to see. It's got their brand on it and everything, and it's good quality. It's comfortable when you wear them. The goggles run off of one 18650 battery, which goes here in the bottom, so that's nice. No need for a battery pack. It has a little flip-up antenna here on the side, and on the top here we have a few buttons. The large yellow button that I have my index finger over here, that is just your power on-off button. You just hold to turn on, hold to turn off. The small circle on the top here, you short press to begin and stop your recordings, and you long press to enter into the menu. Once in the menu, you can use your other two buttons here to navigate through that menu, but if you're not in a menu and you're just on your OSD, these two buttons act as a channel navigation, so you can go up or down through the channels. You can also hold down either one, and that will give you an auto search. If you don't own a battery charger that can do 18650s, they have thought of that and included a USB-C port on the side here, so you can charge the battery while it remains in the goggles. Next to that is a SD card for the internal DVR, which is really cool to see on a kid's product like this, that they're including a DVR that's built in, but to have the little SD card slot on the side there is nice and easy to get to and keep track of your flights as you go. When in the goggles, you will see things on your OSD like your VTX channel, the mode you're in, attitude, RC link, flight time, and battery level. Now the kit itself is good. It's basically what you would expect from get your kid into flying a drone kit basics. You know, you get your radio, goggles, and the drone. So what separates this from all the other ones out there? The Hisingy mobile app. When you download the app, you can create a profile, and that's kind of like a character in an RPG. And every time you fly, the flight time you have, the amount of flights you have, crashes you have, those are all being tracked on the drone. When you're done flying, you can leave the drone sitting on the bench and go into the app on your phone, pull up your profile, and it will sync up the flight you just had with your profile, adding XP to your character, and the XP you can use to unlock things like how fast do I travel forward when I push the stick forward, when I pitch forward, how far does it let me go? So the more experience you build by flying, the more range you have on the radio. So it's pretty nice. I like the way that they do that. It also has achievements on there, which is pretty cool. It kind of gives you something to do while you're flying, something to aim for. While in the app, you can do other things while hooked up to the drone, like changing the LED colors on it, changing the name of the craft as far as how it appears in the app. I noticed there was a little controller icon in the top of the screen. So when I clicked on that, the phone app turned sideways, horizontal mode, and it showed me that I could use a touchscreen radio and fly that drone, which I tried a little bit. It's a little disorienting not having a feel for a gimbal, but I'm sure a young kid could probably get used to it in a matter of minutes, considering it's a touchscreen and that's like a natural language for them. All in all, as far as customizing goes, and as far as this kit goes, I think Hisingy always does a really good job, even with their previous Stargazer kit. I think really my only complaint with that one was that the price of it was just really expensive. So presenting that to like a parent or an uncle or aunt that's trying to get it for a niece or nephew, it's a little steep. So this one being at $169.90 is a much more reasonable price, especially for like a gift for like a teenager or something, or a kid that's just, you're trying to get into flying drones and you want to keep them engaged with it. That app really helps give them a purpose. You know, it's not just flying a drone around anymore. Once you get bored of that part, you can start building your profile, and leveling up your character there, and unlocking the drone to make it fly even better and quicker and adjust how it responds to all your inputs. It's a really fun experience for a child to just keep them motivated and keep them flying. Honestly, if I'm going to recommend either kit, I would say go with the Firefly one because A, it's FPV, which is cooler, and B, it's safer in my opinion because the toss and fly feature I don't think is a great feature in my opinion. It seems dangerous. I myself almost got my fingers caught in it twice. Just the first time I thought my son just armed it as soon as I flipped it over and just thought, oh, he's just antsy. So I went and did it again and it jumped up at me and I said something to my son like, are you arming it? And he said, I'm not even touching the radio. So we started testing it and I reached out to Hisingy and they said that is a feature and it's called toss and fly, I believe they called it. I dug through the literature in the box. I may have missed it. And I also went through the website. I didn't see that or anything talking about that feature. So just putting that warning out there. If you do end up getting this kit, it's a lot better price. I mean, you know, comparatively, you're not getting the goggles and the camera and all that. Just be careful going in. If you get this for someone, just let them know. Maybe just be careful when you're setting it down or be ready for it to take off if you're actually going to toss it in the air and then just start flying it again. If any of you guys or gals are interested in picking one of these up for your little ones in your life, make sure to check out those links down below in the description. It'll take you right to the page of where they are available. They have no affiliation to me. I have none to them. There's no money exchanged here. There's no nothing. If you're interested, check out those links. If you're not, totally understand. It's not for everybody. This is like a, you know, this is an actual kid's toy, not just like a Whoop, but it's like really a kid's toy. I know this isn't our normal kind of video, and I do appreciate you hanging in there and watching if you did. Thanks for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.